Good morning. Thank you for being with us here today. Welcome to SpeedCon 2021. We're excited to have you here. And I'd like to thank our fantastic TCA officers to make this happen today and for the time that was spent on bringing everyone on board and making the schedule work and putting a fantastic program for us today. I hope you enjoy the sessions. I hope you have some good conversations. I'm sorry I can't be here with you to present my talk. I have a COVID-19 shot scheduled, the second one this morning, and hopefully I will be getting out of my appointment by 10:20, 10:30, so I can dial in and answer questions. But here's a pre-recorded video about my talk, and we'll start now. So today I'll focus on data analytics about technical communication as a field, and I'll share some results I found from labor analytics about market needs and skills. And I'm the director of the MSTC program. Welcome again. Today's agenda will start with an overview of the changing landscape of work. And then I'll introduce labor market analytics tools to you with some results. And eventually we'll zoom in and to look at the market needs and skills for technical communication as a field. So it is probably well known to all of us now today that our landscape of work has been changing in terms of the social technological contexts. The type of work we've been doing have been divided into routine and non-routine work and cognitive and manual work. So when we talk about routine work, we refer to procedural and rule-based activities. And non-routine work typically requires activities that use analysis, critical thinking, and problem solving. So the labor market has been witnessing the famously known, the hollowing, quote unquote, hollowing out or job polarization, which refers to the increasing needs for low and high skilled workers on both sides, and then the decreasing opportunity for middle skilled workers. Auto study identify automation of routine work as the main cause of job polarization. If we look at the data, in the past 2 decades, non-routine work has been on a rapid increase, and routine work, both cognitive and manual, has been seeing rapid decrease. Also, if we look at impacts of recession in 2009 and COVID-19 today, we have seen predictions about the jobless recovery, which basically means that the jobs lost in both the 2009 recession and in COVID-19 have been lost to automation, and therefore a lot of the jobs may be lost forever. In addition to impacts from recession and COVID-19 and automation, we've also seen radical changes in business practices. For instance, we've seen the practices of outsourcing, downsizing, right-sizing, the rise of the boundless career, which basically means workers have been moving around without job stability, and the average tenure for individual jobs today is about 4 years, which means someone between the age of 18 to 48 may have to change more than a dozen jobs during their working career. In addition, we've seen the rise of artificial intelligence and augmented intelligence, and then we have to cope with change management as organizations and as individuals. So if we go back to Dick's study, Dr. Stan Dick's study back in 2009, he said, quote unquote, the nature of work for many technical communicators is changing so rapidly that many now perform an entire task set that they didn't even know about 5 years ago. So we are doing new jobs that may not have existed, right, 5 years ago. Some of the job titles include conversational AI designers, AI interaction designers, and probably content engineer. So our jobs are changing. And if you look at the larger labor market, we've been hearing about complaints about skill gaps, right? Some jobs have been automated while other emerging jobs, high demand jobs, they don't have enough skilled workers to fill in those jobs. So the high demand sectors such as healthcare, IT, and now warehouse and transportation, because of COVID-19, they have been having some difficult time hiring the right talent because of workforce development issues. And then other sectors such as service, hospitality, entertainment, and arts and media have been witnessing steady decline. So now let's talk about how these technological and macroeconomic trends may influence technical communication as a field. To answer this question, we can turn to labor market analytics tools, including ONET in the public sector and Burning Glass in the private sector. For this part, I've been using a wide range of artifacts, including white papers, research publications, technical reports, and PR materials to understand how labor market analytics tools work and how they produce data for the public to use, and how such data have been used. And I have also been fortunate enough to have access to Burning Glass, both in terms of its proprietary user interface and to generate customized reports that reflect national and regional needs, skills required, salaries, and etc. So to understand how we connect educational programs with jobs and occupations, we have to understand how two different systems work. The first one is the SOC system, or Standard Occupational Code System, which was developed by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And the second system is the zip code, which stands for Classification of Instructional Programs, that was developed by the US Department of Education's National Center for Education Statistics. And the zip-SOC crosswalk was jointly developed by BLS and NCES, which helped to map individual six-digit zip code educational programs with six-digit SOC code, which are connected with occupations. So a lot of the labor market analytics tools use the SOC code to connect educational backgrounds and programs with jobs. Okay, so technical writer, for instance, appears excuse me, 7 times in the SOC crosswalk, and individuals with technical, for instance, individuals with technical and scientific communication backgrounds can work in different sectors. Okay, now let's look at ONET. ONET stands for Occupational Information Network, and it was developed by the Department of Labor, and ONET has been maintaining an extensive database that provide information about occupational characteristics and worker requirements across the US. So the job-oriented information covers work activities, context, tasks, and tools, and the worker-oriented information focuses on skills, education, salaries, and training. So ONET, according to ONET, technical writer fall into their fourth job zone, or their job zone 4, which refers to jobs that require extensive considerable preparations, usually bachelor degree or above, and the specific vocational preparation score, or the SVP range, is between 7 and 8. In terms of the estimated growth rate, technical writing is predicted to witness an annual growth rate of 7% between 2019 and 2029. So we are actually a quote unquote medium growth industry with quote unquote bright outlook. So that's good news. Okay, so now let's look at the academic insights in terms of their technical communication core competencies before we move on to burning glass data. So technical communication scholars have been studying core competencies of technical communication as a field quite consistently. So we have a few publications published before 2009, and I compile all the data and present here some frequency data for you. So as you can see, technology and writing are the most frequently cited core competencies, followed by rhetorical analysis, management, and collaboration. And then we have document design, editing, and specialized expertise in individual domains such as computer science or pharmaceutical industry. So after 2009, so between 2009 and 2015, we've seen some radical change in the way the core competencies have been envisioned. So information became the most frequently mentioned core competencies, and it can be information design, information development, or information production, and then followed by management, project or process management, and then research. Research have been definitely more emphasized, and then we have technology and content management, content production, followed by technical knowledge, writing, editing, and visual communication. And then we have specialized expertise, which is still there. We also have analytics and ethics. So my hypothesis for this change is, the rise of social media, Web 2.0, and web-based publication, single source, and all the new technologies that we see that has been more frequently used in the last decade may have contributed to the change. And what will the field look like in another 10 years, right? What will it look like in 2030? We don't know, but we expect the technological disruption to be accelerating and more disruptive. Okay, now let's look at burning glass. Burning glass is the largest real-time labor market analytic tool in the private sector. Since 2010, burning glass have been mining the web to look for job postings from over 45,000 websites. It has also been collecting resumes. It has hundreds of resumes, 1 billion job ads. And it also makes full use of publicly available data such as census data and BLS data to put their labor market analytics together for us as a big picture. It offers different tools, including program insight, career insight, and labor insight. Well, program insight is intended for the use of higher ed administrators. Career insight is more student facing, and the labor market insight is more for both higher ed and workforce development agencies. So I have access to labor insight. And as you can see, here's a user interface, and it has analysis of all kinds of data, including industry, alumni, skills, certification, occupation, and program and regional needs analysis. So now I'll talk about market need very briefly. The good news is, as I said, ONET, right, identify TC as a medium demand industry, and we have hard to fill jobs even during COVID-19. So here's a map of demand for the entire country in terms of tech hub. As we can see, Virginia, North Carolina, and along with California and Texas, have the highest demand for tech professionals. I did a query to pull data for the last, for 7 months, in the first 7 months in 2020, and I compare that with the entire year of 2019. So while software developer and nurses are in high demand, tech professionals are in medium demand, and the data shows that we have a slight decrease of salary, and the job posting, the total number of job posting also witnessed a slight decrease as well in 2020. Okay, and then I look at the regional demand, and I have more good news. So our regional market is still very strong, and our supplies are limited. So let's see here. Here's a query results I have about the market need for North Carolina. And as we can see, we have a slight increase in salary in 2020, in the first half of 2020. The total number of jobs have had a slight decrease. Time to fill those jobs remain the same, 29 days. I also pulled some results from MZ, or economic modeling, another major labor market analytic tool, and here are some results. So the number of jobs posted, the median salary, and so on and so forth. And in terms of the workforce, we have about 500 tech writers who will be retiring soon. We are pretty diverse field in terms of gender and ethnicity. Okay, and then if we look at the supply side, we don't have too many programs that are producing tech professionals. So last year, MSTC, in 2019, we graduated 7 students, and we have students from High Point, ECU, for instance. Salary, we have different data. So from Burning Glass, the median salary is about 75K before 2020. And let's see, in terms of educational requirements, a big chunk of our professionals have a bachelor degree, and then I think about 15% have a master degree or above. Okay, now let's move on to the important skills. Here's some salary data from, I think this is from Burning Glass again. So this is the data from 2020. So we see the fluctuation here. The median salary dropped a little bit to 68,000. And then if you are making about 90,000 or above, congratulations, you are in the top 10 percentile in terms of market salary. Okay, so the data again, salary by education. So those who have master's degree seem to make the most in terms of median salary. Now let's move on to the skills. So Burning Glass has a really interesting taxonomy, a way to talk about skills. So it starts with necessary skills, which applicants have to have even to be considered for the job, and then defining skills that will make them qualified for certain positions. And then at the top of the pyramid is what it calls distinguishing skills, salary boosting skills, skills that will make applicants more competitive. So in terms of the baseline skills, I have quite some here. So writing, editing, communication, teamwork. Very interesting, or it's very interesting to see how oral communication appears in more job posts than written communication. So here are the skills, baseline or necessary skills, and the numbers are the number of job postings that contain those skills. So communication skills, if we break it down, we have writing communication, which refers probably more to oral communication, and then editing. So those are the most important communication skills. And then the defining skills, which are often required in hired professionals, include research, project management, produce and training program, content, product development and management, and customer service. And if we look at project management, it also touches upon scheduling, record keeping, and version control. Okay, so for distinguishing skills, those are the skills that are salary boosting, that will make applicants stand out or make them more competitive in the application pool. Those skills include, for instance, Microsoft and Excel, Adobe Suite, software development, and then we have a few TechCom specific tools, product development, agile development, proposal writing, and proposal development, for instance. And then if we look at Adobe related skills, we have Adobe Acrobat, PDF, Photoshop, InDesign, and Adobe Creative Suite, the whole thing. And TC specific tools that appear repeatedly in the job ads include XML, FrameMaker, Conference, Data, and Madcap. And one thing I'd like to highlight is one of the findings from my co-authored article that used networked analysis of skill transferability. We look at the job skills required by different sectors, including hospitality and business and engineer. And the conclusion we have, one of the conclusions is, first, complex problem-solving skills are emphasized for higher job zones. For instance, we were talking about how TechCom is job zone 4. And then if you look at MD, right, physicians and software engineers, those are in job zone 5. So those high job zone, the occupations situated in the high job zone 5, for instance, and 4 require complex problem-solving skills. And the other skills, the other important skills include social skills, system skills, resource management skills. And another interesting finding we have is when we talk about professionals who earn wages around 100,000 or above, so that's the wage threshold we identified. Oftentimes, factors other than skills become more important. So in addition to skills, technical, right, and non-technical skills, other factors that may be at work include social capital, leadership, visibility in the organization, in their occupation, right, and assertiveness, and so on and so forth. So I want to end with a big takeaway from EMSI, or economic modeling study. So EMSI look at the job ads and try to map out all kinds of skills, and they conclude that human skills make professionals mobile. So they look at all kinds of career areas such as tech and engineering, business, healthcare, national security, and education. And the skills that they've seen mentioned frequently in those sectors, different sectors include, of course, right, starting, we see the beginning, the top one is communication, and then leadership, problem solving, writing, teamwork, and critical thinking. So it is encouraging, after going through all the skills, that I will conclude by saying the most important skills are still human skills, and those are the ones that keep us mobile as professionals. So I'll stop here, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.